Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Man United versus Newcastle on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff. I'm excited to see some Premier League football with a good win against Everton last week. We can forget about that. I don't want to remember any of these group stage Europa League games because, look, we should win this group. And the fact that we lost to Sociedad, look, it just makes the job harder for us. It's just typical Man United. Make it harder for yourself. We need to beat Sociedad away from home in a couple of weeks. We still need to beat Sheriff. But look, Newcastle. Again, there's no easy game in the Premier League. Not for us anyway. Yes, Man City have been flying through the league. Arsenal have had a really good start to the season. We're almost hitting November already. So we're talking about 2 months of the league already. We've got the World Cup coming up in around 4 to 5 weeks. So rotation is key from Ten Hag. Rotation is key. And this is before the press conference, so I don't actually know if anyone's injured. But one thing I will say is that I'm quite nervous because Dalot played a full 90. Ronaldo played a full 90. We got Tottenham on Wednesday. So in the space of 2-3 days, we're playing Tottenham after the Newcastle game. Then we're playing on Saturday against Chelsea the week after. So I'm a bit nervous because rotation will be key. I would much rather see Anthony, Ronaldo, Casemiro play against Tottenham and Chelsea than see them start against Newcastle. However, it doesn't mean you can't start them for 60, 65 minutes, depending on where the game goes. But this is the thing. Depending on where the game goes, just like the Ammonia game, if you're winning at half-time, Ten Hag is most likely going to make early subs. Problem is, if we, again, go just like the Ammonia game against Newcastle and we're 0-0 in the 60th, 70th minute, he's probably going to keep those players on, maybe bring 1 or 2 players on in the 60th, 65th minute to change the dynamic of the game, depending on, who's dominating more of the ball and what the context of the game is in that moment. He'll make the subs, and adapt to the game. But it's going to be a tough one. He's got a big decision to make, Ten Hag. He really does, because I'm surprised. I'll be shocked if Dalot manages to play three full 90 minutes in the next 3 games. I'll be shocked if he doesn't get injured. Ten Hag is going to have to rotate. And this is what I expect against Newcastle. I think he's going to go strong again. I just don't hope he risks people who are injured. I don't want to see these players getting injured constantly. A lot of these players are going to be very careful, especially because of the World Cup. So we might not see 100% performances from these players because they don't want to get themselves injured for the World Cup. But then again, they're going to have to perform if they want to get into the World Cup squad, which is announced in around, 8 to 10 days. So De Gea in goal, definitely. I think he's going to go Luke Shaw against Newcastle. Malacia had not a bad game against Ammonia, but he did come off. I think Luke Shaw will start. I can see Varane coming back in. Martinez, Dalot at right back, which I'm worried about. I would like to see Malacia maybe come on in the 60th minute. Maybe put him at right back, give Dalot rest. Midfield, I think he's going to go Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno. Eriksen didn't start. Bruno played a full 90, but I think he might start Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno. I know McTominay played the game, but he can't play on Sunday because he's got too many yellow cards. And I think, look, there's a debate to be had, but that's probably our strongest midfield. I do want to see a bit of change in our midfield. I would love to see maybe a Casemiro, McTominay, Eriksen. I want to see some fluidity in midfield, and I want to see some changes because I think even Ten Hag at this point does not know what his strongest 11 is, because he brings players on, Rashford and Martial, against Ammonia in the first game, and they come on, they score. Rashford plays on Thursday against Ammonia at home, struggles to score. I thought he had a decent game, but I saw a lot of people giving him some stick. But he does miss a couple of chances, but he had an overall decent game. And look, in the front 3, it's going to be very interesting. I think he might play Anthony, Rashford or Sancho. Which one? Sancho come on against Ammonia, and I think he thought he done well. Very direct, fantastic in possession. And one thing a lot of people were saying against Ammonia was, and we've been saying this for years now, Rashford and Bruno are tough players who they can't play against a low block. They lack that patience on the ball, especially Bruno. And look, Rashford's pace is frightening, but it's a lot more effective when you're playing against a team who's going to dominate the ball and you're going to be counter-attacking for most of the game. Against Newcastle, we're probably going to have more of the ball. Rashford is probably not the player to play. You know, regardless of form, you need to know what other teams are going to be offering. And Newcastle, we're going to have more possession. Yes, Rashford probably started against Ammonia because he played well in recent games, but against Ammonia, really stylistically, when we're talking about the technical side of things, Sancho should start, and maybe you should have Antony on the right. You know, or at least put Sancho on the right and maybe give Antony a rest and put Rashford on the left. You need a bit of creativity on either side, which Sancho does offer, and we haven't seen enough from Antony in that side of his game. So I would probably go Sancho, Antony and Ronaldo up front. I think Ronaldo had a somewhat decent game against Ammonia, not enough chances to him. But I expect a dominant game against Newcastle. Again, Newcastle, it's going to be a tough game. These games against Newcastle can always be tough because they can become a bit more physical, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I do expect him to go with a strong team again, but depending on how the game is going, he might not make early subs, and that's worrying. We don't have the squad depth to perform consistently at the top level, unfortunately. We don't have players like Man City, who, you know, even if one of their players get injured at right back or left back or midfield, they can bring on another player who's very similar in terms of quality and technically, that it won't make much of a difference. Unfortunately, we don't have that. Delo at right back is the only right back we have, and Wan-Bissaka he's not on that level, in my opinion. Luke Shaw, Malacia is an interesting battle. That's fine with me. Again, centre-back is the same. Maguire's not here, but even if he was, you take Varane or Ten Hag out, you lose that quality at centre-back. You lose that pace. You lose the ability to get involved in the build-up play, which Martinez does do very well. You lose that timing and that composure on the ball that Martinez has, and really the technical side of things as well. Martinez, really, you could see, is a lot better technically than some of our midfielders, I would argue. So, guys, let me know what you think. In terms of prediction, I think we win this game 2-1. I think we will concede at some point because Premier League, we do seem to concede. I know we kept some clean sheets this season, but we have conceded quite a lot of goals. If you look at Brighton, you look at Brentford, we still conceded against Everton. We conceded first. On the counter, there's always a little bit of a weakness to us. And even though Casemiro has been good in the last 2 games, I still think there's something erratic about Casemiro. There's something erratic about him. And there are times where Casemiro does get in trouble in 1v1. Sometimes he can get ripped. So, you know, I just want to see Casemiro play consistently. And look, Casemiro is, funnily enough, he's, which I didn't expect, he's as effective going forward as he is defensively. So, guys, let me know what you think. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.